they have done a good job of turning this around a bit. I think the whole arc of Cope taking out the Death Riders has helped, and I thought that the segment where Willow Nightingale did the concerto on Marina, Switchblade Jay White laughing at Wheeler Yuta kneeing Marina was one of my favorite moments in wrestling this year so far. I just go back if I have a bad day. I just look at that picture of Switchblade laughing. It's great. It's so great, so good. I thought that was the best segment that the Death Riders has had since Wrestle Dream, since the ending of Wrestle Dream when they murdered Bryan Danielson. So they've turned it around a bit, but I'm gonna go with let's move on. Let's move on from this Death Riders thing.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome back into the Takedown on SI YouTube channel. We are back again for another, not PLE, but PPV prediction show here on the Takedown. Rick Ucchino, Zack Heydorn with you guys as always. And this time we figured we'd bring in the list master himself, who pisses off more people than a badly booked episode of SmackDown. It's our main guy, SP3. What's going on, sir? Welcome in. Appreciate you.
Glad to be on here. Glad to be on with you two after y'all ripped my list apart. Y'all didn't rip it apart. Y'all were a lot nicer than everybody else, but glad to be on here.
Man, we gave you credit. Like Zack and I said on the episode, it starts at the top. You nailed the top. I thought there are no arguments with the top three. We can jockey 4 to 10, but I think you got it right for the most part. So
look, if people aren't giving you flack about lists, you're not doing it right, you know? I mean,
exactly. It's not a good list unless I have people burying me for it. Even though I gotta bury Rick for his Mercedes Monet hate, trying to bump her down the list. Ridiculous.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Hey,
woman was in the greatest women's match in WWE history. He's gonna say, "Oh no, she needs to go down the list because Vince McMahon didn't know how to book her." Get out of here.
If Bianca Belair wins at WrestleMania 41, yeah, she gonna skyrocket up that list. You watch. All right, but that's a discussion for another day. We are here for AEW Revolution this weekend, and guys, let's dive in. We got a 9-card match to get to here. Let's start off with the pre-show. It is the 0-hour trios match because reasons. We got Orange Cassidy, Big Boom AJ of the Costco guys, Mark Briscoe going up against Johnny TV and the MXM collection. I'm going to keep it simple on this one. SP3, the baby faces roll. I mean, like, you bringing in Big Boom AJ, they're winning. Like, it's going to be fun, but yeah, this is like a house show match, basically.
Yeah, basically, that's why it's on the 0 hour. It's going to get some people to watch because the Costco guys are viral superstars, apparently. I'm not a part of my generation, but I did watch some Netflix movie that mentioned that they were watching the Costco guys. So they're a lot more relevant than a lot of other people on this show. So I think that, yes, my boy Mark Briscoe, because he got a little salt on his beard and he does a lot of this and that, and then I'm ready to do this redneck kung fu. They're going to get the job done because it's all about the boom.
I understood a few of those references. Zack, what do you think? We getting an upset on this one or not?
Absolutely not. The Costco guys don't do jobs. No question. No way. They know how to play their cards better than that. No, this is the baby faces go over. They all do booms. I feel like there's a Orange Cassidy style like boom here that's going to happen. So, yeah, baby faces win.
Yeah, he's just going to give the little shrug like right into the. That's what I want. I want the little shrug right into the thumbs up. Yep. Like that's all I want out of this match. Yeah, baby faces roll for sure. We got our tag team championship match. It is the Hurt Syndicate going up against the Outrunners. I think the more interesting question here, SP3, is who is the crowd going to be behind more on this one? Because the Hurt Syndicate's rolling. They ain't losing these tag team titles. But man, these are what?
Wait, put up the graphic again. What is this face Shelton Benjamin's making? This is hilarious. It's an hilarious render. He's on a render with the Outrunners, and he has the most ridiculous face on. Compare his face to Bobby Lashley's face. That bopped me so much.
I can't unsee it now. I can't unsee it.
I don't know what that face says. I don't even know. It's hard to find the words for what that man is expressing in that photo. Maybe he knows they're about to whoop some ass, because I got the Hurt Syndicate rolling in this one. I think the crowd is going to be a little bit split in this one because everybody loves the Outrunners. But man, the Hurt Syndicate, we hurt people. People are all about it, man. So I think the crowd's going to be split. But yeah, I don't see a title change happening here. Nice spot for the Outrunners, though.
Yeah, they were built. It seemed like they were going to Murder Machines versus the Hurt Syndicate, which would have been a better kind of hoss fight to kind of be different from everything else on the card. I think this is going to be pretty one-sided. I think that the Outrunners get their hope spots to get the crowd behind them, and hopefully LA shows out and gives them the type of kind of support that the Acclaim got all the way back at All Out 2022, where we have an very over with the crowd babyface team here. But yeah, Hurt Syndicate dominate
all day.
Hurt Syndicate. I can't add a different prediction to this. I think I like this match a little bit less than you guys do. Not because I don't like the Outrunners and I don't like the Hurt Syndicate. I don't like them together. I think there's two valuable babyface tag teams that AEW has, and you kind of put them against each other. They're both hot. Crowd wants to cheer them both. And now you're kind of asking them to hey, pick a side now when you don't really want to. So I think it's going to be a good match, but I think you don't necessarily want to set up something where you're going to dilute your own crowd response. And I kind of think they did that with this match. I know the Hurt Syndicate can come across, you could make the argument that they're heels, but they're really not. They're badasses and the crowd wants to cheer them. So just let them and put them against some heels.
Yeah, I hope it's at least a fairly competitive match, because I don't want to see when they won the tag team titles, they destroyed Private Party. They absolutely decimated them. Now they hung around and they put up a fight, but they got absolutely destroyed. I don't know if that does anything for the Outrunners to be in that spot if this match is booked in any kind of similar way to that. But at the same time, the Hurt Syndicate has been so damn dominant, and you kind of want to keep that train rolling, which is why I can kind of understand keeping them away from the Murder Machines right now, because that is, like you said, SP3, more of that hoss fight and more of that good versus evil, big meaty men bumping meat kind of match that you would want to put on maybe a little bit down the road, maybe at what's the next pay-per-view? Is it Wrestle Dream? Next one? Dynasty, excuse me, Wrestle Dynasty. So yeah, how this one gets booked is going to be interesting to me, because I think a squash or a virtual squash does absolutely nothing for the Outrunners, but the Hurt Syndicate are winning. This one, oh boy. MJF, Hangman Adam Page. I genuinely do not know. Right now, guys, I am leaning MJF, but I am going to use my position as the host to defer to y'all and then make up my mind at the end. I will say this much. Over the last several weeks, and I think we can all agree on this, the storytelling and the just overall creative for AEW has taken a massive upswing. And I think this is one of those feuds that has really been a catalyst for that. This and Swerve and Ricochet, for sure, two of the hottest feuds right now in AEW. I'm leaning toward MJF via nefarious tactics, SP3, to keep this one going. What are you thinking right now on this one?
Well, firstly, I think AEW deserves a lot of credit for the fact that this is only the second time these guys are going one-on-one, and these are day one AEW guys. These are the two guys that I would consider the first two homegrown AEW main event superstars. Hangman Adam Page, of course, had his time in Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, but during the first 2 years of AEW, they tore down everything that you knew about Hangman Adam Page and rebuilt him as the anxious millennial cowboy. And of course, MJF had that meteoric rise to the top of AEW. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I think that this kind of should have been the number one contenders matchup, because these two guys feel like they're one win away from getting into that title scene again. but I am leaning towards Hangman Adam Page only because if you look at his record on pay-per-view, he has not won a match on pay-per-view since he tried to kill Swerve Strickland at All Out last year. He's lost to Jay White twice. He lost a 4-way at World's End. He needs a victory, and I'm going to go with Hangman here.
Interesting.
Boy, man, this has been a really good program for AEW. I think, when you look at even 2 months ago, and MJF is kind of out there, the Adam Cole thing is floundering. He goes from that into the Jeff Jarrett business, and it's just like, what's happening here? This is one of your biggest stars, and now you've got him where he could actually be a big star for you, opposite another top AEW guy. And then you just let him go to work. And the promos have been good. The storyline has been good. Obviously the crowd is aligned on who they want to see win this, and that always makes, I think, for better pro wrestling when you just have characters that people are reacting to in the way that you want to see that happen in. And they've got all that here. And not to mention, it's a pay-per-view, it's AEW. Both these guys can go. It's going to be a hell of a damn match. I am going to take MJF, and I SP3, your point is well taken. Like, Page needs a win, but MJF doesn't lose on pay-per-view too often either. And I think the long play, given how great these two have been together, is to get more matches out of this feud. And the best way to do that is to just have MJF win and keep Adam Page chasing.
I agree with what Zack said. I'm going to stick with my original case. I'm going with MJF. All right, we got Mercedes Moné defending her TBS championship against Momo here. This one, SP3, kind of goes back again to the tag team title match for me. I think this is going to be I think this is definitely going to be a competitive match. Mercedes has been very generous with her opponents as of late, going back to her matchup with Harley Cameron at Grand Slam. Like, she is doing her best to put on great matches, make her opponents look really, really good. I think that's going to be the case here with Momo, but there is no way on God's green earth that Mercedes Moné is dropping that TBS title before she faces Athena at All In Texas. Like that I feel like that is the direction we are going, especially with the integration of Billy Starks now on AEW Dynamite. I think that is the catalyst. That is the startup. We're already seeing some people start chirping on the old Bird app, right? X the everything platform. We're seeing the old chirps now. It's happening. Mercedes is winning this matchup, but I do think it's going to be good.
I think that this is the match that's most dependent on the crowd. If the crowd is into, Stardom and into Momo Watanabe, I think that this could be a banger on the night, a dark horse banger, potential match of the year. Because I thought that these two women really had an excellent matchup last year at Capital Collision for New Japan Pro Wrestling for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship, and I think they can deliver the same quality here. It just depends on if the crowd is going to be up for this. And Mercedes is on a heater right now. She had two of the best women's matches in AEW history at her last two pay-per-view performances at World's End and Full Gear against Chris Statlander. She had that great match with Willow Nightingale last year. She's really recovered from two kind of not so good matches, including one of the worst matches of the year last year with Britt Baker. She's really bounced back and gotten back into her stride right now. And I think that this is going to be another excellent match, but yeah, Mercedes is going to retain.
All day, every day. Zach, what do you think?
Mercedes all day, and I'm definitely not betting against Mercedes Moné these days when it comes to having good matches. Doesn't matter who she wrestles. She's on Shawn Michaels 1996, 1997 levels of just clicking, doesn't matter who you put her in there with. Small opponent, big opponent, fast, slow, doesn't matter. She's able to make this work. So I'm excited for this one, just from a wrestling match perspective. I still think big picture AEW, you want to get Mercedes Moné, one of your highest paid stars and one of the biggest stars that you have, into more of the narrative structure of the show, week to week, show to show, instead of having these kind of one-off dream matches come in from Japan and CMLL and elsewhere. I still think that's the better route overall for AEW. But on this night, on this event, this is gonna be something that you want to see for sure. But there's no way and there's no reason for Monet to lose.
I think a lot of people is going to be impressed with Momo Watanabe. She's got one of the best movesets. Sorry, CM Punk. One of the best arsenals in all of pro wrestling. I think that she has so many great moves that's just going to get over with this LA crowd.
Don't worry. I don't think Phil is watching our show today. I don't think anyway. I don't know. We win. That's who I'm picking. We win. It's Will Ospreay. It's Kyle Fletcher. It's a steel cage match. It's a rubber match of the latest singles matches against these guys. Look, they have a lot of history with one another. SP3. There's obviously a lot of chemistry here with these guys. The steel cage, you would like to think, would keep the Don Callis family out of play, but that's never a guarantee with steel cage matches or the Don Callis family. But I feel like, man, this is another one where I'm like, I could go either way. I just feel like this is Will Ospreay's to lose. AEW has really been in the Kyle Fletcher business, and I think they've done a great job of building him up. His run in the Continental Classic, honestly, to me, was very surprising when he did not get to the finals. I feel like, though, Will Ospreay is going to come out of this on top, much like his other Omega Power partner, who we'll talk about here in a little bit. I just feel like this is going to be a very bad night. They're due for a very, very bad night. The Don Callis family is. I'm going to take Will Ospreay on this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that this is one of the matches that has match of the year candidate written all over it. If you watch them at Full Gear with the star-making performance for Kyle Fletcher, if you watch them at World's End with one of the best pay-per-view openers you will ever see, they have the potential to really deliver here. And the fact that Will, he had a recent interview with Cam Hawkins for The Ringer, and he talked about this is his first time doing a traditional U.S. steel cage matchup. And Will Ospreay has his own big reputation from 2024 as Mr. Pay-Per-View. He's delivered some of the best matches of 2024 on pay-per-view for AEW, and this is his first chance to kind of continue that stride into 2025. And he's had a very kind of modest first quarter of 2025 so far, outside of that amazing tag team matchup that they had at Grand Slam Australia. He hasn't been delivering the match of the year candidates like how he started last year with like Michael Oku and Josh Alexander and Kazuchika Okada. He's got to have modest. He's now turning into a TV wrestler. He doesn't have to have 5-star matches on TV every week. He got that conversation from MVP that was like, slow the hell down, save something for pay-per-view. So I expect this one to deliver. I expect it to be incredible, and I expect Will Ospreay to get the win.
What are they going to do off the top of that cage? That's what I'm asking myself. Like, what kind of insane spot do they have planned? Because I think it's probably something really cool. This is going to be. It's hard to bet against this one for match of the night, although there are other contenders for sure. I like Ospreay here too. It's sometimes, I think in wrestling, at the end of the story, you want to see the good guy win. And I think here, Kyle Fletcher has been elevated. He's on a new level now because of what this feud has done. But it's time now to put the big star over and put the big babyface over, and Ospreay, vanquishes Kyle Fletcher. They both go their separate ways. And so I think we're at that point, and this is the blow off. And I don't, I think it behooves Ospreay to win these matches in the end when it comes down to it. Because, for as good as Fletcher is, Ospreay still has a very, very high upside. He's a face of that company now. And, I think you want him winning these feuds in the end. So I'll take Ospreay.
Man, we are currently across the board through 5 matches. Only one disagreement so far with SB3 taking Hangman.
And that's
we are agreeing way too much for my liking. Maybe things will switch up here as we have our AEW International Championship matchup. Konosuke Takeshita against Kenny Omega. That was a terrible attempt, but I digress. This one is going to be look, there are about, I feel like we're going to say this 5 or 6 times, right? Match of the night contender, potentially match of the year contender. I think with this one, Takeshita is on another level. Kenny Omega, to me, they're telling this story about, is he still the same Kenny Omega before the bout with diverticulitis? To me, I don't think he's lost a step. He looks just as good as he did before he left and missed all of 2024. To me, it's this simple. There's no way he's losing this quickly. To me, there's no way he's walking out with the international championship. This is Kenny Omega's to lose. I'm picking him. Plain and simple. SP3.
This and the steel cage matchup and Hangman versus MJF, as well as the Swerve Ricochet match we're going to talk about. These all have potential to be match of the year candidates, 5-star matches. And this one I think is the easiest. And I think the floor is 5 stars. I think the ceiling could be like 6 stars because Konosuke Takeshita is top 5 best in-ring performer in the world right now. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. I don't think enough people are praising him for that tremendous matchup he had with Orange Cassidy for the AEW International Championship. No, the International Championship match series crap that they did over the last couple of weeks made no sense for Kenny Omega to be in the final if you're not the champion. No, it made no sense at all. But it gave us one of the best Dynamite matches of the year. So I'm not going to complain. So these guys delivered. I was there live in Chicago at All Out 2023, their first match in AEW, and I expect this one to be just as amazing as that one. But I also expect Kenny Omega to become our new international champion because he's going to combine that with the Continental title coming up in Texas in July.
Gosh.
Please sign me up for that. There's too many damn belts. Zach, what do you got?
I'd like nothing more than to disagree with you guys here, but just the real world circumstances that you point out about Kenny Omega, just it's too soon for him to take a loss, especially if you're going to have like a Kenny Omega run over the summer with this title and whatever you're going to do at with Okada. Like obviously that's rumored. They've teased it. For all of that to happen, he's got to win this match, and I think he's going to. So I'm going to take Kenny Omega. But like you guys said, this is going to be a put your phone down, kick back, crack open a cold beverage, and just enjoy it because it's two top guys or two guys who are just at the peak of their game. And I'm looking forward to seeing them clash. I just as much as you want to, continue to kind of make Takeshita, Omega is still the guy, and he needs to have that. He needs to have that title. I think there's too many titles. So if this gets merged up with the Continental title at some point, that is icing on the cake.
And Takeshita's already got a title in New Japan, so he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's 2 belts Takeshita for now. He'll lose one, and he'll still be defending over in Japan and maybe potentially in AEW. You never know.
Yeah, look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with losing to Kenny Omega. There's just not. He'll be perfectly fine. Oh boy, gentlemen, Swerve Strickland, Ricochet. This is just one of those feuds, those storylines that has just breathed a breath of fresh air right into AEW creative. Zach, this is something you and I have talked about on the Takedown Discussions, which airs every Friday at 9 a.m. here on the YouTube channel. Who would have thought it would take Ricochet leaving WWE to find and create his best character and his best character work? Like, we figured he's coming over to AEW to just be Ricochet and just have bangers bell to bell, but this is somebody who has really come into his own and showcased his personality and has found a way to be a diabolical, equally as annoying heel, and it is working for him. He is firing on all cylinders. He is clicking. The crowd loves to hate this guy, and he is now in a deeply personal rivalry here, SP3, with Swerve Strickland, and it's not just about the number 1 contendership, right? That's what they had to do to get Ricochet to agree to this other matchup. He's got a win on Swerve already. Does he get another one? Does he become the number 1 contender? Does Prince Nana get the robe back? Does Prince Nana stay with Swerve Strickland after this? There's a lot of questions surrounding this matchup. Where are you leaning?
This is probably the toughest for me because, oh my God, I love this Ricochet character so much. This is the best. This is the best rivalry in AEW right now. This is the hottest rivalry in AEW right now because both guys are doing excellent work. Swerve Strickland does not get enough praise for how long he's gone on this run of great feuds or great programs that he's had, whether it's the year-long program with Hangman Adam Page and really reigniting Hangman Adam Page as a top star in AEW, him being the vehicle that introduced the Hurt Syndicate to All Elite Wrestling, and now here he's brought out this whole different side of Ricochet where he became Rick Murray from Degrassi. He got made fun of and bullied too much, and then he snapped, and they bloodied Swerve Strickland like Rick shot Drake in the back. Like, it was ridiculous. And now you have Ricochet playing this character, but he is playing the character so well that it's helping out the other people involved. And Prince Nana, I think, has added a lot to this program. He comes off very endearing, very likable, and he's finally questioning Swerve Strickland's tactics because Swerve makes all of these rivalries so personal. And that in the end, it always costs Prince Nana. He's been attacked. He's taken bullets. He said that. But now he's made it personal to him because he took the robe away. And now he wants him to fix his legacy, get the robe back. And I think the easy direction would be for Swerve to get the win, get the robe back, be the number one contender, and potentially face Jon Moxley at Dynasty 1 year after he won the AEW World Championship at that same pay-per-view. And that's a money matchup. But I'm not here to be all nice and stuff. Ricochet for the win, and Prince Nana turns on Swerve and joins up with Ricochet. Let's break some hearts on Sunday.
Oh, man. I mean, I like that. I like that. I like that better than what I'm going to predict. So let's hope it goes your way, SP3. And the reason I say that is I think Prince Nana, a heel Prince Nana and a heel Ricochet, I think that's money. And not that Swerve and Nana isn't. It's just, I think Nana over the years has just been a better manager working heel. And I think, he's got someone, that he can lean into with that. So I second your idea, but I'm going to predict Swerve. I'm going to take Swerve on this. I think they need a pay-per-view main event for Dynasty. Jon Moxley is the quote unquote top heel of the company. So I think you want to, feed him top baby faces. I think Moxley's going to take care of business. More on that in a bit. But in order to really continue to emphasize that storyline, I think you got to have him work, with somebody that's not another heel in Ricochet that's trying to get over. Because if you put Jon Moxley with Ricochet, like Jon Moxley, all that work you're doing to try to get him negative reactions and heel heat, it goes out the window because everybody's going to want to see him beat up Ricochet. So I put him in the ring with Swerve, which means Swerve has to win. I'm taking Swerve.
Yeah, I think this matchup could be an indication of which way they're going to go with the main event. Not what should be the main event, but what the main event is going to end up being. Because if Ricochet wins, oh boy, I might start putting some on the money line. Adam Copeland. Okay. Like, I don't think that's the direction they're going. I agree with Zack. Cause again, not to overshadow the world title match, which we'll get to here in a second, but the whole story arc that started with this whole Death Riders thing was Death Riders versus AEW. And Swerve Strickland is somebody who proudly carries the banner for AEW. I think if there's ever a time, like, are we waiting, until Darby finishes with his climb of Mount Everest, or is there a chance that they pivot off of Moxley and go with another face of AEW? I think Swerve is that guy. At the very least, he's going to be the next guy who steps up to challenge Jon Moxley. So I think this match is going to be great. I think they're going to keep Nana with Swerve Strickland. This is going to be the blow off to this. Maybe, potentially, Swerve loses at Dynasty because of Ricochet. Who knows? But I am going with Swerve on this one to go up against Jon Moxley, which we might as well just roll right on into it. This is the match that's going to close the night. It shouldn't, but it will. It's Mox. It's Cope. This is a this is a match that I know for a fact because he's talked with me about it here on this channel. I'm sure he talked about it with John Alba for his conversation that's going to drop on this channel on Friday afternoon. So stay tuned for that. But this is one that he has wanted. This is the marquee matchup that he has wanted. It's Mox, it's Cope. He even got the damn marquee exactly the way that he wanted it written, right? He wants a dirty, gritty, ugly battle. Everything that he loves about this stage of being in professional wrestling, as he put it, his guy liner days are done. He is all about just being that straight Canadian hockey fighter, right? That's what he wants. And he wants a brawler type matchup with Jon Moxley. I think Jon is winning. I don't care how many murders this man has to commit to get to an even playing field. Jon Moxley is still dangerous. And I think that this is the match that's ultimately going to prove it. SP3. Mox is still walking out with the title.
They have done a good job of turning this around a bit. I think the whole arc of Cope taking out the Death Riders has helped, and I thought that the segment where Willow Nightingale did the concerto on Marina, Switchblade Jay White laughing at Wheeler Yuta kneeing Marina was one of my favorite moments in wrestling this year so far. I just go back. If I have a bad day, I just look at that picture of Switchblade laughing. It's great. It's so great. So good. I thought that was the best segment that the Death Riders has had since Wrestle Dream, since the ending of Wrestle Dream when they murdered Bryan Danielson. So they've turned it around a bit, but I'm gonna go with let's move on. Let's move on from this Death Riders thing. Let's have Cope get the win and probably have Christian cash it in on him because they're gonna do this forever. They're gonna do this forever.
So are you calling a Christian cash in after Cope wins? That's the direction you're going. Calling it.
Yes.
All
Wow.
right.
Wow. Bold. That's bold.
I like it. It's bold. Bold. I love it though. Yeah. I would actually be perfectly fine with that because I'm tired of the blue balls teasing that they're doing with Christian and this damn contract. Like, let's just go. Let's just pull the trigger on this.
But they purposely kind of put him into the shadows a bit more. Like they had the ops beat them, and then they kind of moved on from that. So they're undermining it to make it a bigger surprise when he does cash in.
Yeah.
Man,
literally running the Edge playbook from the very first Money in the Bank briefcase. Yes. In all honesty, Zach, where are we going? We got a bold prediction here. You want to just take Cope straight up so that way we can have 3 different people walking out with the title in a one-on-one matchup?
Well, I guess I can make that argument, but I don't actually think that that's going to happen. I'm going Mox. I'm going Mox. They've invested so much into this. Like for better or worse, they've put a lot of time, a lot of effort. And it just seems to me it's just too soon to pull the rug out from underneath it. I think you lean further into this until you have, a baby face that people are ready for. And then you do the title change, but that's not now. I think although the Christian Cage thing is compelling, this seems to me that it's more about Jon Moxley and adding credibility to his title reign with a guy like Cope and by beating a guy like Cope. I'm expecting some blood in this one and some violence, and I think it's going to be a fine match, but one that will probably be, it's going to be in the main event slot, but it's not the main event of the show. And I hope somebody in AEW recognizes that between now and Saturday, but I'm not holding my breath either.
I think this one definitely has the right recipe to over deliver on people's expectations because people are going to be so hyped up for other matches on this card. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to get to this one and they're going to be like, oh, well, there's no way that this one can live up to the other ones. And then I think it's going to over deliver for a lot of people. So I think Mox and Copeland are going to be able to take advantage of the fact that people, for whatever reason, with 2 of like the GOATs, right, are underestimating this one somehow. Yeah. I feel like this one is still going to be right up there in quality. At least I hope. And there we go. My main event, your main event, everybody's main event of the night, which should be the ending to Revolution, but it's damn sure Hollywood's ending. It is timeless Toni Storm defending her AEW Women's Championship against Mariah May. This is one of the longest running rivalries and honestly one of the best told stories from start to finish that AEW has had in the company's 5+ years of existence. It's Toni Storm for me all day, every day. Like I think they have firmly established Mariah May on this one, but this is exactly what this is. This is the ending of the story, and they have properly transformed Toni into the top babyface, top star in the entire women's division. And I think you got to keep riding with that right now. I think the women's division is stacked with talent top to bottom. I think it's building some really, really good momentum. You have your fresh, young, and up and coming babyface that people are really getting behind in Harley Cameron, but it's still Toni Storm's division. She runs this place, and I think she leaves LA with the title. And I think that's absolutely the right call. You have so many other, I think, heels on the roster who are ready to kind of step up and take their swings at Toni Storm. I think it's just the right direction to go. So I'm going to go timeless to retain in this one, SP3.
This is also false count anywhere, no disqualification, no count out from Tony's great promo on Collision last week. And I would go as far, you said it's one of the greatest stories in AEW's company history. I would say it's one of the greatest stories in women's wrestling history. I don't think that we've ever seen on a North American pro wrestling company an 18-month story between two women. We've seen long storylines and long series of matches between women, but to tell a full-on story from beginning to end with two women like this, the closest thing that I had when I was growing up was Mickie James and Trish Stratus, but that went like 6 months. This is 18 months, almost 2 years. I think that it should be the main event of the show, and even if it isn't, I think this will deliver one of the best women's matches on pay-per-view for AEW. But yes, Toni Storm gets the win, and I'm praying that we can get Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, even a Marina Shafir. I mean, you're in the Death Riders, you're in the main event program. Let's see you into this world title mix, and let's really kind of flesh it out and get more rotation. And I think they've done a great job with Mariah. I think that she needs to come back with a whole different character now that's detached from Toni Storm to really kind of further her progression.
Man, Toni Storm and the Death Riders. That's a cocktail. I don't know how it would taste, but hey, look, it's something we haven't seen. Zach, what do you think?
I'm with you guys. I think Toni Storm is going to win this one, but I'm just so excited for the match. Like I think there's a lot of reasons to order this pay-per-view. For sure. We talked about them. You got the Swerve match, you got Ospreay and Fletcher, Ricochet. Kenny, there's reasons up and down this card to buy this show, but like this is a main event. This is the money. This is what promoters work to try to build when you've got characters that people care about in a storyline that people care about with big stakes. That's a world championship, and it feels like the two top women going at it. And AEW hasn't mastered that formula throughout its history all the time, like bits and pieces here and there. They've found kind of really good matchups and quick hitters and things like that, but you haven't really had this like main event women's feud until Mariah and Toni started going at it. And so I am just I'm excited to see this pay off. I'm excited to see everything come to a head. Think they got the right match. The Hollywood ending, name for the match is cool. This is a match I think is going to be in highlight videos for AEW for quite some time, and it'll be with Toni Storm standing tall with the belt at the end.
I guarantee this match is not ending on a small package. I think we're going to get a definitive pinfall, a definitive victory on this one. Although I do love, one of the best things about the Toni Storm thing is people's initial reaction on things is to immediately judge and critique, like when she was brought back on Rampage, right? And then she won the world title on the Inside Cradle. And then you go back and you look at it and it's like, well, she's won every single one of her damn matches that way. So it's
she was basically training herself to beat Mariah May with the small package.
The small package, yeah. There's always a point. There's always a reason. Toni Storm, there's a point to everything she does, which is what has made her one of the best women's characters ever, honestly, and the top woman in the game, as far as my opinion is concerned. By the way, she does star in Queen of the Ring, which is coming out on Friday. And I had the chance to talk to the star of that film, Emily Bettickards, who is playing Mildred Burke, who did a fantastic job in that film. I wrote about it. It's up on the Takedown on SI right now if you want to check that out, or you can check out my interview with Emily Bet Rickards, which is up right now. Also, Zach had a chance to talk to Robert Stone ahead of the Evolve premiere this week, so we got that going on. Again, John Alba, our John Alba, is dropping a conversation with Adam Copeland, who is wrestling John Moxley. That is going to be on Friday. I've got all my Johns uncrossed now. There's a lot that's going on this channel. Make sure to give us a like. Make sure to subscribe. We got plenty more that is coming down the pike here on the Takedown on SI. Enjoy the show this weekend. By the way, you can now rent it on Amazon Prime. That's a thing that's going on this weekend. It is going to cost extra. The announcement was a little confusing, but hey, it's there. It's an option for you, and we'll be back to discuss it. Zach and I will be back on Friday, 9 a.m. for the Takedown discussions. I'm sure we'll talk about The Rock, John Cena, Io Sky winning the Women's World Championship on Monday. There's a lot to dive into from the week. We might actually go longer than 30 minutes this week. We shall see. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Enjoy Revolution this weekend.